Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers update video. Yes, they've released another new major patch and along with it a small DLC pack. So what we're going to be doing today is taking a look at what that DLC pack has added and what you get with the base game update. So we're going to be starting with the DLC packs. That's always going to be the more interesting one to look at if you're still on the fence of buying it. So what I've done is set up all the stuff, all the new stuff for the base game, for the DLC, on the brand new planet, Triton, which is a very nice planet. Unfortunately, it does not spawn naturally, so you have to spawn it in yourself through the control menu, but more on that a bit later. So where do we start? Let's go with the 6 engineers over here. So in the DLC pack, we get 6 decorative engineers, dead engineers I should add, all in different poses. You can color them using the standard color palette, so if I come up here and change this one to red, we can then just color them like so. They do not copy your skin, so it doesn't matter which ones you choose here. Let's go with the mossy ones, like so. It will not affect them, just the raw color. Now their costs are all the same, being 1 display, 1 radio component, and 1 bulletproof glass, which we get this guy sitting here looking like he's tired. We didn't have the lazy sleeping engineer. We have the laying down because he doesn't want to go to work engineer. We have the I can't really be bothered to go to work engineer, the please make it stop engineer, and the I've given up with my life dead engineer. These are the different poses you get, and you can access their backpack to store a few bits and bobs in. So you can put a few tools in there if you wanted to use them as a cargo container instead of, say, the traditional little freight crates like that. Yes, you just get different ones in there. You can just plop them around, just scroll wheel to change their position and all that. You can just leave them up against a wall if you wanted to do so. You can be like Spider-Man, but that's entirely up to you. But what else did we get? Well, we have the gate, which is probably the most important block out of this DLC pack. It's the first of its kind and allows you to stop using the hangar doors in order to make some kind of vehicle access. So we get this rather large block, which is like so. It's pretty damn big, and it's got a nice lot of detail on it. It can copy the skins, whatever you selected, you can change the colors on it, and you can come up to it, press that button, and open it up. It's all airtight, so you don't need to worry about that. And you can always, if you're not happy with the size of it, double it up like so, and have one much larger door to get a much larger ship in or out. But let's just go and delete that. So just taking a little looky around here, we've got some nice detail on there, we've got little vents, got lots of little notches in it like armor plating. Coming through, looking at the archway, that is what we get. We get little buttons, which is the only way to open and close it outside a console. So we can't, like a traditional door, come up to it and left or right mouse click to open it up. You do have to use that console, but that is that. And on the sides there, on the top, it's a rather nice block. As for its cost, it is 60 construction components, 10 computers, 20 motors, 100 small steel tubes, 40 construction components, and 600 more steel plates. So it is a rather expensive block, but nothing too crazy. Moving across, we then have the offset door, which is a bloody brilliant block. There was nothing worse than trying to make a fancy base and finding that the original sliding door, the original door, just doesn't work with a few blocks. So I also come across and find this block in particular. This block is such a nice block, but you could not use the original doors with it because they just did not fit. There was either be a gap there or just look horrible on the other side. But yes, we have this offset, which sits at the front or the back, depending on how you spawn it. We can come up to it, mouse click to open and close. It's got a nice quick animation. We have our control panel on the side, which we can use, or right click to access. It's got a nice lot of detail on it. And there we go. And this is with the half slope blocks on it, so we can come through here, nice and flush. On the opposite side, that is what it looks like. It fits bloody perfectly, which I absolutely love. I can get a lot of use out of this, and I can tear down a few of my old bases and replace it with this door, because I had to compromise a lot to work with the older doors. So there are the older ones. There's the door, there's the sliding door. But what else did we get with the DLC pack? So we got the dead engineers, we got the gate, we got the door, we got this lovely texture which I've been walking around. We have the frozen armored block skin, which just adds a sprinkling of snow over all your blocks and really suits the new planet. So over behind here I have spawned in a bunch of blocks with different colours with the snowy skin on. So we've got a nice purpley pinky colour, we've got a blue, we've got our green, our black, our white, our red, yellow and pink. And that's all it does, it just adds a nice lot of snowy texture onto it. It has very limited uses unfortunately outside Triton, and of course these snowy parts on the Earth-like planet. There's not too many places where having a snowy covered block is going to be useful, but it's still great nonetheless. And because I forgot to mention it, the offset door is 20 steel plates, 6 bulletproof glass, 20 construction components, 2 computers, 1 display, 4 motors, 4 small steel tubes, 15 construction components and 5 steel plates. So the offset door is a little bit more expensive than the regular door and slightly different to the sliding door, but it's still not too bad. Anyway, moving on, we then have the radar dish, or satellite dish, whatever you want to call it, which is this lovely thing right here. A little bit of an oddball, but it does have some nice detail on it. We've got little struts going all the way down, we've got support wires, we then have this lovely little part in the middle there for you to send your signal beaming out. And we come all the way up to the top, got a nice lot of detail on it. If I was to come all the way down, we then have all the little support frames going all the way around it. And it does look good once you've set it all up with rotors and such, which I've done up there. Now the antenna dish costs 20 steel plates, 40 radio communication components, 8 computers, 30 construction components, 60 steel plates, 120 girders, and 10 more construction components. And it does have a little tidbit. It says the antenna needs to be able to send and receive, so make sure you have 2 antennas always overlapping each other's positions, which is a little odd. Not too sure what that actually means. I suppose it means it just needs to have 2 pointing at each other, but I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. But we can set them up to do some different stuff on rotors, and they do look good when they've been set up. So over here I've simply got a double rotor setup where one comes across and angles it, and the other one is simply spinning it around, and this is what it looks like. I've got the snowy skin attached onto it, and it's just got a very slight rotation to it. And I come across to this one, which I do like a little bit better. This has got a 3 rotor setup, so one spinning on the spot, one angling, and another one which is slightly rotating it all the way around, and just spins around and does look magnificent. So it's nice if you want to make a outpost, a communications outpost, but other than that, it is quite a bulky block and does take a little bit of creative thinking to make it look good and get it set up so it doesn't look like an eyesore. It is a very big block. If I come across to the door over there, that is what it looks like. So yes, it's a rather big block. I'm sure people can do some great stuff with it. So what else do we get with the DLC pack? So we've got the dead engineers, the sliding door, the offset door, the frozen armor skin and this satellite. Well, we also get 7 new posters, which, well, they're what you make of them really. So this one over here is the Cosmic Coffee, where we get a lovely engineer sitting in his chair having some fair trade coffee. Moving across, we then have another one all about the coffee, where he has a thumbs up holding a cup of coffee. We then have the Clang Cola, a taste that's out of this world. Moving across, we then have another Clang Cola poster. Moving across to this one, we then have a slightly different one, which does look great, doesn't it? Time is precious, let our drones help you with life's boring tasks. Very nice motivational poster for all the engineers out there. And then we come across to this one, which is the ROS, for a brighter future in deep space. Then to the last one, the I Want You recruitment poster, with an engineer pointing at you and Keen's logo on a hat. And the final thing for the DLC pack, which I almost forgot about, is the 2 new emotes. So, the first one is we're very cold. We rub our arms, we do a little shuffle on the ground, look around, and that is that. The other one is to check your temperature gauge on your arm. So we press that, we act all fabulous for a second before checking our arm. And there we go. We just hit our little panel, and that is that. The animation just looks around for a little bit more before it goes back to the standard idle. Now if I was to come into first person view, let's come into this and look down. The very cold animation is this, so we can look down and we just do a little shuffle on the floor. Oh dear. And then we could go and press the other one. which will be to check our arm. Eventually we'll move our arm all the way around. There we go. We just tap it, have a little look-see, and that is that. So once again, we can press that one for our little shuffle. It's sort of broken because it's merged both the animations together. There we go. So that's the very cold. And then we have the checking temperature gauge, or checking your vitals. So that is what you get with the DLC pack. You get the gate, the offset door, the antenna dish, you get the 7 posters, the 6 dead engineers, and a new scenario. Is it worth the price? I think it is. It adds a lot more stuff to the game for you to play with, but if you're not too happy, there are plenty of alternatives on the workshop. I know for one that I've seen plenty of dead engineer models, big sliding doors for vehicles, and there are many posters for you to download and play with. But what did the non-DLC buyers get? What did everybody get with this update? So with the update, you get one brand new planet called Triton, a snowy mountainous planet which you have to spawn in through the spawn menu. Yes, unfortunately it does not spawn naturally when you choose a star system or easy start Earth. It was entirely built around the scenario, so if you want to play around with it and play with it in your survival world, you will have to activate the admin commands. Come over to your Shift F10 menu, find the drop down box to planet, and find Triton and spawn it in. There we go, you can change the size of it if you wanted to, that's entirely up to you. So we get this big old planet over here, which is, well, lots and lots of snow. It's a very dark planet, so if you notice on this video, it is quite dark and gloomy compared to the other planets, despite being in direct sunlight. But still, it's a nice addition to the game. It's just a shame it does not spawn naturally. So what else did you get? Well, you also get smaller hydrogen tanks. So we've got a small large block one and a small block one. They have quite a considerable cut down on the amount of hydrogen they can store, so they are going to be quite limited on what they can do, and it definitely will not be for a large thruster array. So we have this one over here, which is the large block one. It can hold approximately 350,000 hydrogen, compared to the 5 million of the traditional tank that you see sitting behind it. It's got a lovely model on it, we've got our lights on the top, we've got a hydrogen written on it with a warning sign and little pipes going into it. It's a very nice model. That's it on the side, got our little symbol over there, and then around the back it's basically the same as the front. On the top we've got our connection point to access it, and on the bottom is the exact same. Then we can come across to the small block, small hydrogen tank. Now this one is only really going to be used for keeping your survival kit recharged with hydrogen to make sure your backpack doesn't go out. There is not enough storage capability in this thing for thrusters. This is what we get. We get a tiny 4 armor block sized block, which has a hydrogen tank on one side and a little bit of computers and stuff on the other. We have an access point right here where we can get into it, and it can hold 7,000 hydrogen. If I was just to type in hydrogen tank here and find the traditional small block hydrogen, we can have 160,000 in comparison. So that is quite a cut down in what it can hold, but it is considerably smaller and easier to hide on a small ship. So the large block one is 20 steel plates, 40 construction components, 8 computers, 60 small steel tubes, 40 large steel tubes, and 60 steel plates. For the small block one, it's very, very cheap, being only 2 steel plates, 6 construction components, 8 computers, 4 small steel tubes, 2 large steel tubes, and 6 steel plates. So the next thing everybody gets to enjoy are the weather effects. Now they aren't the traditional weather effects while they just happen randomly throughout the world, we have to use a command to spawn them in. Now these weather effects were designed for the Frostbite scenario, which is why they're so tucked away and why most people will probably never use them. But anyway, pressing Alt F10 we're going to need to enable our creative mode tools. So we just want to make sure that that's all ticked and we're good to go. Next we're going to press enter to bring up our chat box. Then we're going to type in /weather. Now what comes after this is going to be what we want. So there are 2 snow versions and 2 fog versions, one light, one heavy. We're going to start with the snow light, which should create a light snowstorm. And that's what we get. It's a very, very subtle change, which creates a nice effect to the world. Absolute fantastic effect. Doesn't seem to impact performance too much. which is just very, very nice. The next one is /weather, snow heavy, where we get some intense fog and snow falling from the sky, to the point that if I was to move the camera a short distance away, you're not going to be able to see me unless I put my light on. There we go. So that is absolutely fantastic and scary at the same time. Imagine flying a vehicle through this. It's like Grand Theft Auto during Christmas when it's snowy and foggy, and you can't quite make out where the ocean is until it's too late. Yes, finding my character, which is over there, thanks to that light. We can then get rid of all of this by doing the /weather clear, which will just put us back to normal. There we go. So it takes a little bit of time for the snow to stop falling, but now we're back to our traditional Earth-like planet. The next one, the /weather fog light. So there we go. It's just going to be like the snow light, but without the snow particle effects. Then we can come across to the weather fog heavy. There we go. And then we get the intense fog without the snow particle effects. So that is bloody fantastic. And it does seem to... Nope, it does not affect space. It only affects the planet when we get close to it. And here we are on a different planet. I bet you cannot guess where I am at the moment. So I'm just going to come over here, type in the weather, and then clear everything up. We're on Mars. Yes, it's a lovely snowstorm on Mars. The weather effects work on any old planet, and they do add quite a nice bit to the game. It's a shame it's limited to the Frostbite scenario, because it would be nice if this could randomly happen as time went on in your survival world. So that is it for what you get with the DLC pack and the base game update. There were a few more things for the base game, such as the visual scripting tool overhaul, but I know nothing about that, so I've decided to miss it out. So sorry if you were looking for information on that. But yes, the DLC pack as a whole I think is quite good. It is a bit lighter than the other packs they've released, but it does add some great additions to the game. I can see some great use of that big gate and of course the offset door. So if you're still on the fence for that DLC pack, I think it is worth it, but there are plenty of alternatives on the workshop page if you're not too happy with it. But that is it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.